Hey everybody, and welcome back to another 4x8 gear talk. I know what you might be thinking, that is not a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and you are correct. I actually ripped my 4x8 sheet of plywood down for a project, and so I have yet to get a new one, so I'm using an old door. But anyway, back to talking about some new gear, and in this video, we actually have a lot to unpack. Some brand new stuff from Mystery Ranch backpacks. I have been a Mystery Ranch ambassador for a few years, and so I've been lucky enough to be able to test a lot of these in the field prior to them getting launched. But yeah, really a ton to talk about on this new set of the Metcalf series. If you weren't already familiar with the Mystery Ranch Metcalf, it's been one of their best-selling packs over the last decade and plus, and it was kind of when people would ask me if I'm gonna buy one Mystery Ranch pack, that was typically where I would steer them depending on what their needs were. If they wanted something that worked for day hunts as well as extended hunts, up to 6-7 days, which is what most people are looking for. But so highly versatile, but the team at Mystery Ranch went through and wanted to really approach kind of that ultralight version of the Metcalf, including 3 different sizes. So new frame, some new materials, new layout on the pack a little bit, but still keeping intact kind of that versatility of the original Metcalf. So we have 3 different sizes. So we have the 50, the 75, and the 100. So kind of your Goldilocks setup right here. The one that I have used the most is the 50, but that's just because over the last 12 months, the majority of my hunts that I've done have been more so day hunts where I'm going back to a base camp, where I'm not having to pack multi-days worth of food, water, shelter, all of those things on my back. This last year was a lot more camping close to the truck and then hiking in a long ways. So I used the 50 a lot, hauled a couple animals out with it, but I'll get into that. So let's talk about the differences. So lighter weight, so the 50 comes in right at 5 pounds, the 75 is 5.3 pounds empty weight, and the 100, which is massive, comes in at 6.1 pounds. So super light for how much you can actually fit in these packs and how much you can haul. So you don't want to sacrifice, you don't want to go too ultralight where you're sacrificing that load hauling capability, but it's also nice that they were able to shave a lot of that weight off from the original Metcalf to make it a little bit nicer to carry around from a day-to-day basis. So in order to do that, they changed the frame. So this is the ultralight MT frame. So the last frame on all these packs was the Guidelight MT. So they were able to shave this down, keep a lot of that strength, and it's very good at load hauling capability. Another thing that they changed was the lid on the 50 is slightly smaller than the lid on the 75 and the 100. It kind of matches the size of the bag, but you don't have this giant lid on a much smaller pack. But yeah, so 3 different sizes, 50, 75, and 100. I used all 3 just to be able to kind of see how much you could fit in these. And like I said before, I used the 50 a lot more for my day hunts. I did use the 75 on an elk hunt I went and filmed with my brother Josh, and the 75 worked great for what we were doing. Could fit a ton of gear in here, but I want to get into some of the other changes. So the original Metcalf series had just a drawstring top. So there was kind of 2 openings, if you will. It had your Cordura opening, and then if you wanted to extend above that, there was a nylon fabric that had a drawstring top. So you could go up higher, and then you could obviously stretch that lid out on top of the pack. All of these now have a roll top. So when you're getting into the pack, you have a couple straps that you can use for lashing things down or putting a head on there once you are hiking something out. But all of them have a roll top. So this is that 75. You can put things in there all the way up to that height, which I would say you're good 6 to 8 days, especially if you're hunting with a buddy, splitting camp and cooking stuff. This one would haul that no problem. The 50 comes in at 3,050 cubic inches. The 75 is closer to that, right around the original Metcalf size, which is 4,575 cubic inches. I believe, I'd have to go back and check, but the original Metcalf was somewhere in that 43 to 4,500 cubic inch range. And then the 100, which is giant, and I actually use this one to haul in antelope blinds and cameras. And this one, when you roll that top out, is an absolutely massive pack. But if you're moving in a big camp, especially if you have a lot of stuff that isn't super heavy, you know, if you're tent, sleeping bag, all of those things that you can kind of just jam in on the top of that if you're trying to move in a spike camp and then shrink that back down and use it, and you don't want to have more than one bag, that 100 is sweet. But I put in 2 ground blinds, camera stakes, you name it. I filled it basically full and hauled stuff in a couple miles and set it up on water holes, but it hauled the load super well. But yeah, it kind of depends on what needs you have as far as the different sizing. So the roll top opening on these is one of the big major differences. And then you have, like, same as all the other Metcalfs, you have a side zip going all the way down so you can get into and access your gear on the side of that. You have the locking buckles just like all the other packs, and so those lock down nice. The biggest shift to this new series of the Metcalf pack is that frame system and lightening that load. So you're still all Cordura heavy duty, locking buckles. You've got plenty of straps so you can add attachments. Yeah, just a very well thought out new series of packs, and giving you the option to choose, okay, this is the type of hunting I do. I think the 75 is going to be the one that I'm able to get the most use out of. Or maybe you do all, you know, day hunting. You could probably do an overnight in this if you use the overload system. But it kind of depends on what your needs are. If you're, you know, hiking in huge loads, the 100 might be the option for you. But having the variability in the choices is nice, because then you can pick and choose which one is going to fit you best. Yeah, so for now, I'm just gonna pull these 2 bigger ones off the table so I can show you. I left the 50 empty so I can kind of run through all the different things that you can do with this pack. Lid system, so that just unbuckles. This one is still covered in quite a bit of blood from a mule deer I hauled out. Probably need to wash that at some point. But lid that detaches there, and then the lids from the other packs will fit on the same pack. So if you wanted to get a bigger lid for the smaller pack, you can do that as well. It has the overload system, so if you are ready to haul out meat, just loosen this up a little bit. If you are ready to haul out meat, there is a buckle in between the yoke system and the pack, and then this just folds over, and then you unbuckle these down the sides. Meat shelf, stretch that out, and then you can put that load, like, you know, either another bag, or if you have game bags that you want to put in between. Keeps all that weight nice and tight to your back for hauling it out, and it also allows you to still put everything from your camp in the main bag, or everything that you had with you, but still haul that meat without getting blood all over everything on the interior of the bag. Another important thing to talk about is the overload system itself. This is something that Mystery Ranch developed in a lot of their lineup of bags. It's used in military applications, fire applications, and obviously good for hunting applications, but really kind of an ingenious design to be able to put that heavy load right next to your back. You might be wondering also about the new color here. So that's another difference this year from Mystery Ranch. 2 new colorways. So this one is Ponderosa. This is that awesome green color with the tan straps, which is, I believe, called buckskin. And then slightly different variation of a tan color in the bags as well. And this one is called buckskin. It used to be called coyote, which was a kind of a deeper brown with a little bit more red to it. But I'm a big fan of the new colorway. So yeah, that is the Ponderosa. Again, same roll top design on this 50. But yeah, the overload system is super nice. As far as I'm concerned, it's the only way to haul meat, and they have continued to make it easier and easier to connect. So there's kind of these little bat wings here where those clips go, and then that just folds over that frame when you're putting this back together. And that just tucks in there, and then you re-clip it, and you're back to having your pack the way it was. Oh, let's see, what other features on here? Dual side water bottle pockets, plenty of length on all of the straps on the back to strap whatever you need to the back of the pack. So you only have the one side extends and around, so you can fit quite a bit on the back there. It'd be like, you know, tripod, whatever extra gear on the back. And then if you're not using the lid, you can actually detach the bottom straps here, and that is something that you wouldn't have been able to do in the past. So yeah, so that's the pack itself. You have nice heavy duty lumbar support, you got big hip straps, you got comfortable shoulder straps. I have not noticed a difference in load hauling capability, even though they went to a lighter weight frame. Carrying a deer out, carrying really heavy loads just to test it, it felt very similar and comfortable to me than to all of the other load hauling Mystery Ranch packs. So I was super impressed with what they were able to do with a lighter frame. One more thing to add to these packs and talk about is the Gravelly 18. So I've got that hanging up back here. So this is just an 18-liter pack. Let's see here. It's 1,155 cubic inches. Just small, little day pack. The cool thing about this is, actually when I first got it, I didn't really pay attention to what this was actually used for. I started using it just on little day hikes that I was doing around. I can throw a camera in there and an extra layer and then just head off. It's got lightweight shoulder straps. You have a chest strap but no waist belt, but super comfortable to carry just for, you know, day hunts. But the cool thing about this is these straps unbuckle and then they will actually tuck. The straps will tuck into the back of the pack, and so then you just have the bag. And then what you can do with that is you detach the side buckles here, and then rather than attaching it to itself, which is where it is on the main bag, you pull that out, and then you can have it be a piggyback onto any of the Metcalf series. So what is that good for? So let's say you're hiking into a spike camp and you're gonna, you know that from spike camp you're not gonna be going all that far, and you don't wanna carry the big pack every day, especially if you run in the 75 or the 100 and you don't wanna have to just shrink that down and try to use that as a day pack every day. And if you're not planning on hunting that far from camp, or if you just need a little bit extra room, you can use that 18 where you can haul extra gear. You strap that to the outside as a piggyback on this. There's 4 straps, so you can do just in the side, just like that. Clip that on, and then I would do the same thing with the bottom 2. And then you have that little pack as a piggyback on the way in. That thing only weighs 1.8 pounds. Again, 1,150 cubic inches, so you can throw a bunch of gear, extra gear in there on the way in. And then when you get to camp, you could pull that bag off, use that as your day pack if you wanted to. It has a hydration pocket. It has plenty of water bottle pockets. It has some strapping there if you want to throw a tripod on, that kind of thing. But yeah, a very cool. This is kind of like an updated version of the mule bag, but super easy attachment points, and they fit right into these orange loops on the side. Same with these. It would fit into the orange loops here and here, and that would piggyback off the back of any of the bags. So giving you the option to kind of pick and choose how much room you may or may not need, but I'm definitely planning on using that as a piggyback onto the Metcalf series going into this year. So that's just a quick rundown of the new Metcalf series from Mystery Ranch. So as a recap, you have the 50, you've got the 75, and the Mammoth 100. So depending on what your needs are, you can kind of pick and choose. But super cool new lightweight series from Mystery Ranch, as well as being able to kind of have a little bit of modularity with it, adding something like the Gravelly 18 to add additional carrying capacity to any of these packs. But hard to go wrong. If I needed to make a recommendation on picking just one of these, I would say the 75 is still going to be your best bet. You can shrink that way down, use it as a day pack, but if you need that larger load capacity where you're maybe planning on doing a several day hunt or something in the backcountry, that 75 is going to be pretty sweet. Unless you're going for long times, then that 100 is going to be your best bet. But remember, the bigger the pack, the more stuff you're gonna add eventually. So I always like running a smaller pack because otherwise I will fill it and I will carry around a bunch of stuff that I typically don't need. But yeah, big fan of this new Metcalf series. Plan on putting lots and lots of miles on this year, and looking forward to hauling out some more animals with it. So thanks for checking out this Gear Talk. Be sure to subscribe, like, share it around. If you have any questions below, just ask them and I will answer. I'll put all the specs to all the different packs right below and a link to Mystery Ranch where you can pick these up. I'll also put a link to a rock porch locker with all of these, and if you go and shop through that rock porch link, it doesn't cost you any extra, but we get a little bit of a commission for doing videos just like this. So full transparency there. Helps us make more of these videos and do the things that we love to do. And again, if we can answer any questions and help you in picking different gear choices, just let us know in the comments. So have a good one and good luck this fall and anytime you're out in the woods.